Today we're diving deep into a card that exudes confidence, authority and fire, the King of Wands. Before we explore the fiery charisma of this king, I want to take a moment just to, set the stage. This is going to be a long and detailed video, and that is intentional. Anyone who truly wants to understand tarot at the depth that I'm willing to teach deserves more than the basics. I have poured a lot of time and energy and research into these videos, and I've endeavoured to include as much detail as possible. Because of that, I've included chapters for ease of navigation, so you can jump to the sections that you need or return again and again as your understanding deepens. If you want to get the most from this, it might be a good idea to open up a tarot journal and maybe take some notes along the way, or you can save this video or even the playlist so you can return to it as often as needed. My goal here is to help you develop an expert level understanding of tarot, not just the surface level familiarity. Court cards, the royal difference. Court cards are not just your everyday numbered cards, and they're not like the major arcana with their heavy existential weight. Court cards are a special category of the minor arcana. Think of them as the social butterflies, the leaders, the personalities within the suits. They can represent people, personality types, or even energy patterns, and their messages are often more nuanced than a simple yes or no reading. Court cards are often the most challenging cards to understand and interpret for readers. They tend to be the cards that we grasp the least, at least at first. And many students of tarot only fully understand court cards much later into their practice. In fact, I have even known readers who have removed all of the court cards from their decks entirely, simply because they lack confidence in reading them effectively. They are, without a doubt, some of the most misunderstood cards in the deck, yet they hold immense depth and insight once you learn to work with them. If you have struggled with the court cards yourself, like I have in the past, don't worry, it's completely common and expected. While the numbered cards, or the pips, tell a story of events and progression, and major arcana cards speak to the big life lessons and archetypes, court cards are like the people you meet along the way who shape your journey. Mentors, rivals, allies, friends, lovers, bosses, family members. Now, each tarot has at least 70 different methods of categorization, at least that I have identified. And today we're going to focus on the ones that matter the most for the King of Wands, although be aware that many more of these categories will be explored in future videos. So let's begin with probably the most important in terms of foundational understanding categorization for the court cards, which would be rank and role. In tarot, rank refers to the position and authority of the card within its suit. Court cards, pages, knights, queens, and kings form a clear hierarchy, which is far more overt than in the numbered cards or even in the major arcana. At the top of this hierarchy sits our king, embodying mastery, authority, and responsibility. He is not only experienced, but he has learned to balance action with wisdom. He doesn't rush in blindly like a knight would, or approach cautiously like a page would. No, the king has the perspective and self-control that comes from lived experience. Think of it like this. The page is a curious apprentice. The knight is an ambitious adventurer. The queen is the wise steward of her domain. and the king is the visionary leader, guiding not only himself but also others with clarity, decisiveness, and integrity. While the major arcana also imply rank in terms of spiritual or life stage progression, with the Fool at the beginning, or the Magician, however you'd like to look at that, and the World at completion, this is symbolic and layered, not a hierarchy in a social or functional sense, whereas the court cards, by contrast, communicate explicit social and energetic roles within their suit. Who is learning? Who is acting? Who is nurturing? And who is leading? Their rank is practical and relational. This is not just a metaphor for personal growth. For the King of Wands, his rank signals that he has mastered the suit of wands, qualities of fire, creativity, initiation, courage, and vision. He can guide projects, people, or situations with authority. Unlike a knight who will charge forward impulsively, or a page who is still exploring his options, the king weighs risk, inspires others to act, and, possibly most importantly, takes full responsibility for both successes and for failures. Modern examples of the King of Wands in action. The King of Wands isn't just a mystical figure on a card, he is the energy of real world leaders, entrepreneurs, and visionaries. Here's how this rank might show up in everyday life. Workplace leadership. Imagine a project manager or a team lead who doesn't just assign tasks but inspires their team to innovate. They see the big picture, they delegate wisely, and take responsibility for outcomes. Unlike a knight rushing into action without a plan, the king motivates and executes with confidence. Entrepreneurial vision. This is the startup founder who spots opportunities where others might see obstacles. They take calculated risks. They bring people along with their passion, balancing creativity with accountability. They embody the top rank in their suit of enterprise, the ultimate master of vision and action. Creative leadership. Think of a director, lead designer, or a creative head, guiding a team through a bold, innovative project. They know when to let others shine, and they know when to step in, inspiring respect through competence and charisma, and not intimidation. Unless the card's in reversed, but we'll get to that in due course. Personal and social leadership. Even in friendships or in family dynamics, the King of Wands can show up as someone who naturally takes the lead in planning, problem solving, or mediating conflicts. Their authority comes from experience, and people instinctively look to them for guidance. Mentorship. This king is the mentor or coach who has been there, done that, got the t-shirt. They can spot potential, guide others towards mastery, they can encourage calculated risk-taking, and they teach that leadership is as much about accountability as inspiration. In all of these examples, the king's rank is not just symbolic, it's functional. He represents someone, or the energy within you, or within the querent, that has mastered their domain. Somebody who takes initiative, somebody who inspires action, and somebody who does not dominate recklessly. Again, refer to the reversal of this card in a later chapter. The key takeaway is that the King of Wands isn't about power for power's sake. His rank signifies earned authority, mastery of fire energy qualities, and the ability to lead boldly while taking responsibility for the outcomes. Personality archetype. The King of Wands is the visionary, charismatic leader of the tarot. He's the person who inspires and motivates others. Someone you might recognize in real life as a parent or a grandparent who leads by example. A mentor guiding you through a tarot tutorial or another craft. A teacher who brings out the best in their students, or perhaps a wise friend with experience in a field that they generously share. And when I say he, this doesn't necessarily mean this person is a man. It's about the energy that they embody, not gender. This energy can also represent you, the querent, when you're stepping into your own leadership, confidence, and creative vision. The King of Wands embodies action with purpose, inspiration without ego, and courage balanced with wisdom. The person everyone instinctively turns to for guidance or for motivation. Maturity level and developmental stage. The King of Wands represents the pinnacle of development within the suit of wands. This is a figure or an energy who has been through the fire, literally and metaphorically, and has come out stronger, wiser, and more measured. The king has faced challenges, he's made mistakes, and most importantly, he's learned from them. He has the maturity to embrace responsibility fully, owning both successes and failures. He wields his confidence with a calm assurance rather than arrogance. This is someone who knows when to take risks, when to pause, and when to inspire action in others. His maturity is about balance, balancing intuition with strategy, passion with practicality, and leadership with humility. Astrological subsigns and interpersonal dynamics. Court cards are a little tricky when it comes to astrology. Unlike the major arcana or the pip cards, they don't have direct one-to-one astrological correspondences. Assigning a specific sign, like say the King of Wands is Leo, would create an imbalance across the zodiac, because then some signs would be over-represented and some would be under-represented. Instead, the court cards are better understood through elemental dignities, which reflect the energy of the suit combined with the card's rank or role. We will dive into elemental dignities shortly. The understanding of this is layered and therefore complex, so I've attempted to break this all down, and I will add these layers as we progress. But for now, we're just focusing on the fire of his suit in terms of the 3 fire signs, which would be Aries, Leo, and of course Sagittarius. For the King of Wands, we can think of him as pure fire in king energy. This means he embodies the mature, masterful expression of all of the fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sag. Aries energy for the King of Wands, therefore, is bold, action-oriented, decisive. He initiates and leads without hesitation. Leo energy for the King of Wands is charismatic, magnetic, inspiring. He draws people to his vision and he energizes them. Sagittarius energy for the King of Wands is visionary, adventurous, optimistic. He sees the big picture and he encourages others to aim high. By understanding him this way, we get a full spectrum fire energy, not tied to a single zodiac sign, but instead reflecting the qualities of the entire fire element in its most mature and balanced form. Symbolism and Imagery. In the Rider-Waite-Smith, the RWS deck, the King of Wands sits confidently on his throne, a figure of authority, mastery, and dynamic energy. At first glance, the throne itself immediately speaks volumes. It's adorned with lions, the classic symbol of courage, strength, and leadership, which can account for why so many are tempted to associate him with Leo while forgetting the other fire signs. Lions are also associated with fire and vitality, reflecting the king's elemental energy and his ability to act decisively and with confidence. These lions remind us that true authority is not about domination. It's about courage, protection, and responsibility. The image of salamanders that appear both on the king's cloak and around his throne adds a rich layer of symbolism to his fiery domain. In ancient lore, salamanders were believed to be creatures born of fire, able to live within flames without being consumed. Within the context of the tarot, they represent transformation through passion, mastery over one's impulses, and the ability to channel raw energy productively rather than destructively. The salamanders on his robe appear circular, almost Ouroboros-like patterns, symbolizing completion, eternity, and the continuous cycle of creative energy, fire that fuels itself endlessly when harnessed with wisdom. The single salamander at his feet represents the ongoing challenge of mastery, that fire is never fully contained. It's a reminder that even the King of Wands, for all his control and his confidence, is still engaged in the eternal process of refining and balancing his own power. In his hand, the king holds a wand, upright, alive with sprouts and growth. This isn't a static scepter. It's vibrant, suggesting initiative, creativity, and vision in action. The wand represents life force and potential, and in the king's grasp, it signals that he is actively shaping his world, turning ideas into tangible outcomes. Notice the king's posture and his gaze. He sits forward, alert and ready, yet he is composed. This is a perfect balance of command and approachability. He's facing west, looking back on the wealth of past experience. As I've said, he's been there, done that, but he's also engaged with the world, attentive to his environment, and prepared to respond with both wisdom and skill. The colours in the card are also very meaningful. The rich yellow and red of his robes, the orange of his throne, they symbolise warmth and energy, creativity and fire, while the touches of green highlight growth, renewal and the fertility of ideas. The king's throne appears to rest upon a solid, stone-like platform, grounding his fiery energy in stability and structure, as we would expect for a king. Unlike many other cards in the minor arcana, the background is stark. It's empty. There's no mountains, no villages, no trees, no clouds to distract from his presence. The absence of scenery isn't accidental, it highlights the singular focus and self-contained power of the King of Wands. He doesn't rely on his environment for meaning. He is the landscape, embodying clarity and purpose and self-assured direction. Even smaller symbols like the sand beneath the stone platform or his fiery crown and sleeve cuffs demonstrate that the king is firmly grounded, yet the energy around him is alive. In essence, the King of Wands is a card of dynamic authority, energetic leadership and visionary action. Every visual element, from the lions to the wand, from his posture to the colours, works together to show a figure who is confident, courageous and fully engaged in the process of bringing ideas to life. Directional meaning. In the Rider-Waite-Smith depiction, as we have already noted, the King of Wands faces left or west, and this detail carries subtle but powerful symbolism. Traditionally, the west is associated with the element of water, intuition, emotion, and the setting of the sun. This is the place where light softens and reflection begins. For a fiery king, this direction suggests emotional intelligence guiding passionate action. He doesn't charge forward blindly. He tempers his drive with empathy, with insight, showing that true leadership balances fire with feeling. Facing left, as we have already noted, can also imply looking to the past, not to dwell there, but because he's learned from past experience and then uses that knowledge before acting. This aligns with his maturity and his wisdom. When this card is reversed, however, that directional symbolism twists. The king might be stuck in the past, allowing old wounds or ego to cloud judgment, or he may ignore intuition altogether, becoming domineering or short-sighted. Thus, his westward gaze reminds us that even the boldest fire must respect the lessons of water, intuition, compassion, and emotional awareness. I know not everyone reads reversals. I very rarely do myself personally, but for those who do, we will cover reversed meanings in the upcoming chapters as and when it becomes relevant. Mythological and allegorical meaning. The King of Wands is so much more than a leader in the literal sense. He channels the energy of mythic heroes, gods, and legendary figures who embody courage and vision and creative authority. Think of Apollo, the Greek god of the sun, music, prophecy, and inspiration. Like Apollo, the King of Wands wields his energy with clarity and precision and radiant confidence, illuminating the path for others without forcing them to follow. You could also imagine him as Ra, the Egyptian sun god who rises each day to bring light and life into the world. This archetype reflects the king's luminous authority. His power is earned through mastery, through experience and wisdom, not inherited or demanded. He brings vision, vitality, and forward momentum, inspiring others to rise with him like the sun and to take action. Allegorically, the King of Wands is the embodiment of the hero's journey in leadership. He has faced challenges, he's learned from trials, and he now occupies a position of responsible power and creative expression. He doesn't dominate for ego's sake. His authority, as I have said, is earned and enlightened. It's there to guide, it's there to protect, to inspire. Gender polarity and energy expression. The King of Wands embodies masculine energy, but it is, as always, important to note that this doesn't refer to a person's gender. I'm sure, as we've been going through the characteristics of the King of Wands, many of you will have women that you have met who embody many of these qualities. Instead, it describes how energy is expressed. Masculine energy is expressed in a way that is active, assertive, and outward projecting. Masculine energy in this sense is dynamic and focused, moving from intention to action. It's about decision, direction, and agency. This energy is complementary to feminine energy, which tends to be receptive, intuitive, and inward flowing. Within the court cards, we can see a balance of both of these polarities. Pages are feminine, curious, receptive, learning. Knights are masculine, driven, action-orientated, forward-moving. Queens are feminine, intuitive, nurturing, reflective. And kings are, of course, masculine, decisive, authoritative, expressive. Together, they represent the full spectrum of energetic expression, the blend of doing and being, giving and receiving, leading and listening, each necessary for mastery in both tarot and in life. For the querent, drawing the King of Wands may indicate that they are stepping into or being called to step into this type of active, projective energy. It's the drive to take charge, to lead with purpose, and bring your creative vision into the world, regardless of gender. Seasonal association. The King of Wands is closely aligned with summer, the season of peak vitality, growth, and outward action. Summer represents the height of energy and warmth and illumination, a time when the seeds planted in spring have matured, blossomed, and are ready to bear fruit. This seasonal energy reflects action, visibility, and leadership. Just as summer encourages us to go out into the world, take initiative, organize a barbecue, invite your friends round, and pursue your goals with vigor, the King of Wands models taking bold steps, asserting vision, and inspiring others through active engagement. He essentially thrives in the full light of day. Summer is about embracing your vitality, standing confidently in your power, and engaging with the world with courage and enthusiasm, just like the King of Wands himself. Day and night, light and dark themes. Daytime in tarot represents action, outward movement, and engagement with the external world, which are all qualities central to the King of Wands. He operates in the realm of conscious, deliberate action, where ideas are not just imagined, they are executed with purpose, with confidence. His energy is visible. It's magnetic and inspiring. It encourages others to follow and participate in a shared vision, in contrast to night or darkness, which might invite introspection, rest, or unconscious processing. The King of Wands thrives in the full light of awareness. For the querent, this theme suggests a time of presence, assertiveness, and active leadership. It's about stepping into the spotlight, making your intentions known, and acting with both confidence and clarity. In essence, the King of Wands as a daytime figure reminds us that leadership, creativity, and action thrive when we operate in full awareness, when we shine our light, and when we engage with the world proactively. Elemental dignities and court card elements. As I have mentioned, court cards can be tricky, partly because different systems assign different elemental correspondences, which can very quickly become confusing. We've already established that the wands belong to the element of fire. That's basic stuff. That's the first and most straightforward part of the equation that we can assign to the King of Wands. But court cards are made up of three distinct components: the element of their suit, in this case fire, the element of their rank, and their modality, which we're going to cover later, just to keep things as clear and simple as possible. So in this section, we're going to add the second component, the element of rank, to deepen our understanding of how each court card functions. If you've ever felt unsure about which element belongs to which court card, don't worry, that's completely normal, because even experienced readers do tend to disagree on this point. I would say the best approach is to trust your intuition and let the cards guide themselves in your understanding. Here's the elemental system that I personally work with. This is the traditional understanding from the Golden Dawn, which is widely accepted by many readers, although, as always, do work with what resonates most with you. Kings are air, mastery of the mind, strategic thinking, leadership through clarity and discernment. Queens are water, nurturing, receptive, emotionally intelligent, and they represent intuitive guidance. Knights are fire, action-orientated, driven, passionate. They represent the energy of pursuit. Pages are earth, learning, exploring, beginnings, the first tangible manifestation of something new. From this perspective, then, the King of Wands is air of fire. His suit element, fire, gives him passion, initiative, and creative drive, and his rank element, air, adds intellect, strategy, and mental clarity. This combination produces a leader who is not just bold but visionary, someone who balances inspiration with intellect and action with foresight. To visualize how these two elements interact with each other, for me personally, I tend to think in weather metaphors. Air of fire would be like a strong wind, fanning the flames, heating the area, amplifying, energizing, and spreading that fire. It's dynamic, it's motivational, it's full of vitality, but if unchecked, can become too hot, overwhelming, and volatile. When in harmony, though, this pairing creates focused, inspired leadership, which is, as we have come to recognize by this point, the hallmark of the King of Wands. Do keep in mind that some tarot systems assign these elements differently, and that's okay. The key is to work with the combination that feels intuitive and consistent for you. In the next section, we will explore modalities, the cardinal, fixed and mutable qualities that further shape these energies, and you'll see how this understanding deepens even more. But for now, this foundation gives us a solid grasp of the elemental dignities that define the King of Wands. Modalities and the court cards. So far, we've established that the suit of wands corresponds to fire. Simple stuff. We've added the element of rank. For example, the king brings in air. So now we add the third layer, modality. This final component shapes how each court card expresses its energy, giving it a distinctive personality and rhythm. The three modalities are cardinal, which is initiating, pioneering, driven to start things. Fixed, which is steady, determined, focused on maintaining and developing. And mutable, which is adaptable, flexible, and responsive to change. Here's how these generally align in traditional systems like the Golden Dawn. Kings are cardinal. They initiate, lead, and set things in motion. They start cycles and they guide others. Queens are fixed. They stabilize, nurture, and sustain what has been created. Their energy protects and it develops. Knights are mutable. They explore, adapt, and move energy through action. Pages are more complicated. In the Golden Dawn system, they are typically not assigned a modality, reflecting their emerging youthful energy. Basically, they haven't got to that level yet. Modern interpretations often label pages as cardinal, seeing them as initiators or messengers of new beginnings. This discrepancy exists because different tarot traditions prioritize different aspects of court card energy. Some emphasize action and initiation, while others emphasize development and mastery. For my readings and my teaching, I do use the traditional Golden Dawn assignments. I find this approach gives a consistent symbolic framework that aligns with elemental and Kabbalistic correspondences. However, I include the modern variations here just so you're aware of the potential differences, especially if you're doing your own research and then encounter conflicting interpretations and now you're thinking, WTF. Ultimately, as tarot readers, what we choose for ourselves is what works best for our own practice. The key is to make an informed choice and then remain consistent in how you read your deck. So, putting it all together, King of Wands, suit element, fire, wands, rank element, air, king, modality, cardinal. This combination creates a leader who blends vision, air, with passion and drive, fire, and who takes decisive forward-moving action, cardinal. He doesn't just dream, he makes things happen, inspiring others to follow. Each court card has its own unique rank, element, and modality signature, which is what makes them so dynamic. By layering suit, rank, and modality, we gain a richer understanding of how court cards express movement, personality, and power within their suits. Hebrew letter and the Tree of Life. Let's clear up a common point of confusion. Court cards do not have Hebrew letters or Tree of Life correspondences. This isn't really a full chapter, this is just an important clarification, since not every card shares these deeper, esoteric layers. Hebrew letters belong exclusively to the 22 major arcana, each representing an archetypal spiritual lesson on the Kabbalistic tree of life. These were assigned by occult scholars like Eliphas Levi and the Golden Dawn. Court cards, however, represent human personalities and situational energies, not universal archetypes. So the King of Wands has no Hebrew letter. His meaning is found in his element, rank, and modality, as we have seen, and not in any Kabbalistic correspondence. Likewise, the court cards are not mapped to the Tree of Life. Not technically, but keep watching because more on that later. The Sephiroth and the Paths apply to the major arcana because they chart the soul's spiritual journey, while court cards deal with expression, temperament, and leadership within the suits. So, for the King of Wands, as we have looked at, we focus on his air of fire, elemental blend, and cardinal energy, his visionary leadership and inspired action, rather than any Kabbalistic path or Sephiroth. These systems are powerful, but they belong to the majors and not the courts. Alchemy Symbolism. In alchemy, the principles of sulfur represent active, fiery, and transformative energy. It's part of the alchemical triad prima, the sulfur, the soul, the fire, Mercury, spirit, air, and salt, body, earth, which together symbolizes the full spectrum of existence. Sulfur, specifically, is about passion, drive, inner fire, and that energy that sparks transformation. For the King of Wands, sulfur perfectly mirrors his archetype. He embodies dynamic, visionary energy, the kind that ignites change, inspires others, and leads with purpose. Just like fire in alchemy, this king's energy is active and transformative. Magical tools and weapons. In tarot, the wand is so much more than a stick. It symbolizes will and authority and creative energy. The King of Wands holds his wand in his right hand, like the Ace of Wands and the Queen of Wands, signaling outward, active, confident energy. Other cards hold their wands differently. It's worth paying attention to. The page uses both hands, for example. The Two of Wands is in the left, and the 3, 7, and 9 of Wands shows varied grips, each reflecting how the energy is expressed. The RWS wands are consistent across the suit, unlike the cups, where the Queen's cup is unique, highlighting her distinct mastery of her suit. The wands act like a conductor's baton. It channels energy, coordinates action, and brings ideas into form. In readings, the wands remind us that willpower and creativity are your tools. In magical practice, wands are associated with ritual work, directing energy, and fire-based intentions. When the King of Wands appears in a reading, it's a reminder that your will and your creativity are your most potent tools. Use them with clarity, courage, and responsibility, just as the King does. Colour scales of the Golden Dawn. The colour scales of the Golden Dawn assign colours to each tarot card based on a layered system of correspondences, reflecting the card's energy, elemental nature, and symbolic meaning. Remember earlier when I said the court cards don't have Kabbalistic correspondences? Well, they do. This system connects loosely to the Tree of Life, but unlike the major arcana, which map directly to Paths and Sephiroth, court cards use colour to represent energy and elemental expression rather than a strict Kabbalistic assignment. For the King of Wands, the colours are red and yellow, and here's why. The suit of elements, wands equals fire. Fire brings reds, oranges, and yellows, representing passion, vitality, and action. This is the base energy of the card. Rank element, kings equal air. Kings add yellow, symbolizing clarity, intellect, and mental mastery. For the King of Wands, this reflects his strategic thinking and visionary leadership. Combined energy, red, fiery action, plus yellow, mental clarity, equals fiery action guided by insight and authority, which perfectly captures the King of Wands' essence. Think of it like a layered formula. Suit element plus rank element plus energetic vibration equal card colour. These colours are not just decorative, they help visualise. They're something that we can meditate on, or a way we can ritualise the card's energy. Red fuels initiative and courage, yellow provides focus and vision. Together, they show the King of Wands doesn't just act impulsively, he leads, he inspires, and manifests ideas with confidence and mastery. This system also applies to the other Wands cards. Each court card has its own colour combination, reflecting its rank and its energy, which we will explore in future videos when we dive into the pages, the knights, and the queens. Polarity: positive, negative, active, receptive. In tarot, polarity refers to the energetic orientation of a card, whether it projects outward or moves inward, whether it initiates action or whether it reflects and receives. It's not about good versus bad, it's just simply how the energy expresses itself in the world. Positive or active cards initiate, act, and project energy, and negative or receptive cards absorb, reflect, or respond. Now, we've talked a lot about the King of Wands energy, so you're probably already smiling, knowing exactly where he lands here. Obviously, he's active and positive. He's outward moving, projective, and influential. For contrast, a card like the Four of Swords sits almost entirely on the opposite end of this spectrum, receptive, introspective, and still. Where the King of Wands mobilizes, inspires, and acts, the Four of Swords rests, reflects, and absorbs. Comparing the two really highlights just how outward and dynamic the King's energy truly is. In readings, understanding polarity helps you gauge whether the reading is calling you to act, or to reflect, or to balance. Chakra Correspondence. The King of Wands aligns with the solar plexus chakra, the seat of personal power, confidence, and decisiveness. When balanced, it fuels courage, clarity, and the ability to step into your own authority, mirroring the King's fiery visionary energy. In readings, the King upright encourages you to trust your judgment, lead boldly, and act with integrity. Reversed, this can indicate a blocked solar plexus chakra, showing up as self-doubt, lack of direction, or misused authority, where confidence turns into arrogance or impulsivity. Body or physical correspondence. One of the lesser known ways to categorize tarot is through body or physical correspondences, and this is especially useful when a reading focuses on health, vitality, or energy flow. Each card can be connected to specific parts of the body, giving extra layers of meaning when we look at physical well-being or lifestyle guidance. For the King of Wands, the correspondences are the shoulders, spine, and heart. These areas reflect strength and posture. The King carries himself with confidence, a symbol of personal power and physical vitality. Spinal alignment. The spine represents structure, support, and the ability to stand tall in life. Heart energy, connecting courage and passion and leadership to both emotional and physical vitality. When this card appears in a reading, it can point to where your energy is strongest, where you may need to focus attention on alignment, stamina, or self-care, or it can even highlight areas of tension carried from responsibility and leadership roles. For more on this, refer to the chapter on reading the King of Wands in a health or wellness reading. Magical pathworking and meditation use. The King of Wands is perfect for visualization and pathworking exercises, especially when you want to embrace leadership, courage, and confidence in your life. Here is a simple practice. Close your eyes and visualize yourself seated on the King's throne. Feel the warmth of his fire energy, his steady presence, and the confidence radiating from him. Imagine yourself holding a wand, your will and creative power flowing through it. You can enhance this meditation with a mantra. I am strong, confident, and visionary. I lead with courage, and my actions create meaningful change. Repeat this mantra as you breathe deeply, letting it anchor the King of Wands energy within you. This practice helps cultivate decisiveness, personal power, and clarity, whether you're preparing for a reading, making a major life decision, or simply stepping into your day with intention. Upright meaning. When the King of Wands appears upright in a reading, it signals leadership, vision, courage, entrepreneurship, and confidence. This isn't abstract power. It's practical, actionable energy that can show up in real life in a variety of ways. For example, if the King of Wands appears with, say, the Three of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands, or the Queen of Wands, this could speak of your manager. She doesn't just delegate tasks. She inspires her team with a clear vision. She encourages collaboration and drives projects forward with confidence. If the King of Wands shows up alongside the Ace of Wands, the Page of Pentacles, or the Six of Wands, it may represent someone launching a new business or side project. If paired with the Ten of Pentacles, or the Three of Wands and the Queen of Wands, the King of Wands might reflect a creative leader, directing a film or an art project, or a play or a performance. If appearing with the Ten of Cups, or the Four of Wands and the Page of Wands, the King of Wands could indicate a parent or a grandparent orchestrating a family event. They anticipate needs, they coordinate tasks, and keep everyone on schedule while maintaining harmony. When combined with the Ace of Wands, the Fool, or the Eight of Wands, the King of Wands might represent the querent themselves, stepping into their own power. In essence, the upright King of Wands calls you, or someone in your life, to step into leadership, embrace vision, and act with courage, using your creativity and experience to inspire and direct others. Reversed meaning. When the King of Wands appears reversed in a reading, if you do read reversals, the card points to domineering, reckless, hot-headed energy, or perhaps a loss of direction. This is the same fiery, visionary energy as the upright king, but here it's mismanaged, misdirected, or perhaps blocked. For example, a manager or team leader who comes across as overbearing, controlling, or intimidating, micromanaging their team instead of inspiring them. Their decisions may feel impulsive, and they could act without considering consequences, causing tension or burnout among colleagues. This could be a partner who is controlling, hot-headed, or inconsistent. Someone whose impulsive decisions and domineering behavior create tension, miscommunication, or emotional imbalance within the relationship. This could be a parent or a guardian who overrules, pressures, or dominates their children or their household, acting impulsively or insisting on control rather than guiding with patience and example. This can create tension, rebellion, or emotional strain in family relationships. In creative fields, this might show up as a director or lead who pushes their vision too aggressively, dismissing collaboration or input from others, and the result can be frustration, friction, or stalled progress. The reversed king can also reflect the querent themselves when they are feeling overwhelmed, impulsive, or unsure of direction. Confidence may tip into arrogance, or courage might become recklessness, highlighting a need to pause, reflect, and realign with wisdom and clear purpose. In short, the reversed King of Wands warns against letting fiery energy run unchecked. In a love reading, when the king appears upright in a love reading, it signals a passionate, confident, and inspiring partner or energy who takes initiative, leads with vision, and is not afraid to express their desires or their feelings. Here are some examples with supporting cards. With the Ace of Cups, the King of Wands could represent bold emotional beginnings. The king channels confidence and initiative into starting a new love connection. With the Ten of Pentacles, visionary leadership in love, building stability, commitment, or a shared legacy. With the Queen of Wands, now the King and Queen of Wands are of course complementary fire energies, mutual inspiration, co-creation, and a dynamic, confident partnership. Strength and the King of Wands would be courage and personal magnetism, stepping into love with self-assured presence. With the Two of Wands, the King of Wands would represent planning and taking initiative in your romantic path, creating opportunities rather than waiting. The Three of Cups, celebration, community, and shared joy, energized by the King's confident leadership. With the Six of Wands, recognition and motivation, the king uplifts and inspires achievement within groups. With the Page of Wands, this is enthusiastic, adventurous energy, guiding others while nurturing their curiosity and their ambition. Reversed meaning. When reversed in a love reading, the King of Wands signals controlling, impulsive, or inconsistent energy in relationships. Passion will still be present, probably, but it might be misdirected or unstable, often creating tension, frustration, or power struggles. Here are some more examples with supporting cards. Alongside the Five of Wands, the King of Wands reversed would mean conflicts and competition and tensions arising. Fiery energy misused leads to arguments and power struggles. With the Emperor reversed, the King of Wands reversed would be authoritarian or rigid behavior. Leadership becomes controlling rather than inspiring. With the Seven of Swords, this is potential manipulation, deceit, or hidden agendas within the relationship. With the Knight of Wands reversed, this is rash or reckless actions, acting without foresight or considering consequences. With the Two of Swords reversed, indecision or avoidance leads to impulsive moves that create instability. With the Ace of Wands reversed, this is energy misapplied, new beginnings without planning that result in frustration or a waste of time. Temperance reversed alongside the King of Wands reversed would be imbalance or impatience, overconfidence tipping into recklessness. Alongside the Moon, the King of Wands reversed speaks of emotional confusion or acting on illusions, misreading situations or intentions. And with the Four of Pentacles reversed, this could be clinging too tightly or trying to control outcomes, mismanagement of personal power. Career and finances meaning. In its upright form, when the King of Wands appears in a career or finance reading, it signals entrepreneurial drive, leadership roles, and the ability to take charge with confidence. Here are some examples with supporting cards. Alongside the King of Wands, the Three of Pentacles in a career and finances meaning could speak of collaborative leadership, recognizing and utilizing the strengths of others to achieve goals. Alongside the Ten of Pentacles, this is visionary leadership, creating long-term stability, success, or legacy. With the Queen of Wands, again, complementary energy, inspires confidence and charisma in others while leading decisively. Alongside the Ace of Wands, this speaks of bold new beginnings fueled by vision and initiative. With the Two of Wands, this is strategic planning, assessing opportunities before taking action. Alongside the Knight of Wands, we're talking of dynamic, action-orientated energy driving ideas forward. The King of Pentacles would be mastery of finances and resources combined with visionary leadership. the King of Wands alongside the Seven of Pentacles is careful assessment of investments and patience for long-term results. The King of Wands with the Four of Pentacles would be thoughtful management and preservation of resources without stifling progress. Reversed meaning. When reversed, the King of Wands points to overconfidence in career and finance readings, rash decisions, or micromanagement. That same bold, empowering energy that drives success when upright can now become misapplied, creating tension, setbacks, or frustration in career and finances. Here are some examples with supporting cards. With the Ace of Wands reversed, new opportunities pursued without clarity or foresight. With the Seven of Cups, scattered focus, poor prioritization of projects or options. With the Knight of Wands reversed, impulsive, reckless action leading to avoidable mistakes. With the Two of Swords reversed, ignoring consequences or acting without thoughtful decision-making. With the Five of Wands, conflict, friction, or misalignment within teams or projects. Ten of Wands reversed, overextension or burnout due to lack of planning or overcommitment. Four of Pentacles reversed alongside the King of Wands reversed, holding too tightly to control resources or people. Five of Pentacles with the King of Wands reversed, isolation, friction, or conflict in collaboration. The Emperor reversed, overbearing authority, rigidity, and domineering energy. In a health or wellness reading, when the King of Wands appears in a health or wellness reading, it signals vitality, energy, and physical strength. This card reminds us that well-being isn't just mental or emotional, it's embodied. The King of Wands connects to the shoulders, spine, and heart, as mentioned in the body physical correspondence chapter of this video. This gives us some tangible areas to watch. Shoulders and postures. Strong, confident posture supports physical health and energetic presence. This king encourages maintaining alignment and carrying responsibilities without unnecessary tension. Spine symbolizes structure, support, and uprightness. Pay attention to spinal health, core strength, and areas where stress may accumulate from leadership roles or life pressures. Heart connects courage, passion, and leadership to vitality. Emotional resilience here supports overall physical well-being. Here are some examples with supporting cards for a health or wellness reading. With the Four of Wands, we're talking harmony, stability, and celebrating wellness milestones. Maybe you just hit a new PR. With the Ace of Wands, initiating new health routines or physical practices. Maybe you've decided to embark on a new diet or a new physical hobby. Three of Pentacles, collaborative wellness efforts like training with a coach or attending group classes. Strength would be physical vitality supported by emotional resilience. This is like recognizing your health journey, your physical journey is supporting your psychological and emotional journey. With Temperance, this is balanced, moderate, and holistic self-care. Maybe you started meditating. With the Six of Pentacles, this is receiving or offering support to maintain wellness. Maybe it's time to hire a coach. Reversed meaning. When reversed, the King of Wands in health readings certainly highlights overexertion, stress, or mismanagement of energy. Seeing the King of Wands reversed in a health or wellness reading is a reminder to pause, reassess, and restore balance. Here are some more examples with supporting cards. With the King of Wands reversed, if you see the Ten of Wands reversed, this is overburdened leadership and mismanaged responsibility. With the Five of Wands, this is overbearing tension and mismanaged conflict, causing friction or stress. With the Four of Swords, this is definitely a warning to stop, to pause, to reflect due to burnout or impulsive overexertion. With the Nine of Swords, this is anxiety or mental strain that's showing in those King of Wands areas of the body, the shoulders, the spine, the heart. With the Three of Swords, this is emotional stress affecting overall wellness. And with the Eight of Pentacles reversed, this would be neglecting health due to overwork or poor management of time or energy. In essence, the King of Wands in health readings encourages proactive, confident care of your body and energy, maintaining alignment, releasing tension, and supporting vitality. When upright, this is about strength and stamina and courage. And when reversed, it's a reminder to rest, to delegate, and rebalance before overexertion undermines well-being and causes burnout. Spiritual and personal growth meaning. When upright, the King of Wands in a spiritual or personal growth reading encourages confidence, vision, and inspired action. This is the energy of somebody stepping fully into their power, taking responsibility and acting with courage and clarity. Here are some examples with supporting cards. Alongside the Fool in a spiritual and personal growth reading, the King of Wands would be speaking of embracing new beginnings with courage. With the Ace of Wands, this is igniting fresh inspiration or projects. With the Eight of Wands, this is swift, decisive action and manifestation. With the Chariot, this is mastery of direction and self-discipline. With the Three of Pentacles, this could speak of mentoring, collaboration, and guided growth. With the Queen of Wands, again, that true match pair, inspiring others through confident and dynamic example setting. With Strength, we're speaking of courage and resilience and inner power. With Temperance, balanced integration of energy and action. With the Six of Wands, the King of Wands would be recognition for a bold and inspired leadership position. When reversed in a spiritual or personal growth reading, the King of Wands turns inward, highlighting humility, patience, and self-restraint. The fiery, assertive energy definitely remains, but it's now misdirected. It's impatient or over-controlling. Examples with supporting cards. The Hierophant and the King of Wands reversed is a call to learn from structure, tradition, or wise counsel. The Five of Pentacles and the King of Wands reversed is a warning to recognize overextension and energy drain. With the Four of Wands reversed, this is disrupted harmony and reflection very much needed. With Temperance reversed, imbalance or overreaction to circumstances. The Eight of Swords with the King of Wands reversed would be feeling stuck due to impulsive choices. The Hanged Man, learning, surrender, perspective, and timing. The King of Swords reversed, misused authority or intellect, manipulation. The Knight of Wands reversed, impulsivity, lack of direction. The Two of Pentacles and the King of Wands reversed, balancing energy and priorities carefully. Spiritually, the King of Wands upright models confident leadership, bold initiative, and embodied inspiration. Reversed, he's asking for humility, patience, and conscientious direction. Timing, predictive meaning. When the King of Wands appears in a timing or prediction reading, it signals swift, decisive energy and upcoming opportunities for leadership or action. While the momentum is fast, the King's approach is strategic, which is slightly slower than the impulsive Knight of Wands, but far more likely to produce meaningful, lasting results. Upright examples would be swift decisions, action that might be required within hours or maybe days, particularly in work, creative or personal projects. This is energy that does not drag. Opportunities appear quickly and reward clarity and confidence and speed. leadership moments. Significant calls to step up or to influence others could arise over the next few days to weeks. These moments often coincide with new moons, signalling fresh starts, or solar festivals like the spring equinox. Momentum. Changes or developments can accelerate over weeks to months, especially during fire sign transits, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, or waxing moon phases when energy is building and forward momentum is supported. Reversed examples: delays or missteps. Impulsive or poorly planned actions may cause hours, days, or even a week of delay. Avoid rushing during retrograde periods or waning moon phases, which amplify missteps. Missed opportunities. Hesitation or lack of direction can prevent engagement with leadership or creative opportunities. Key cautionary windows may appear over weeks if tied to blocked planetary aspects. Energetic imbalance. Feeling scattered or overextended can slow progress from days to weeks. Recentering during the moon in water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, or mid-late winter months can help restore clarity. In essence, the King of Wands in timing readings highlights periods of accelerated activity, decisive action, and the need to step confidently into leadership roles. Upright, the energy favors momentum within hours, days, maybe a week or two at a push. Reversed, it warns to pause, recalibrate, and plan carefully and make the most of upcoming opportunities. As a yes or no interpretation. When considering a yes or no question, the King of Wands leans strongly towards yes, but with some important nuances. This is not a blind or automatic go for it card. We have plenty of those. This card emphasizes awareness, responsibility, and conscious action. Upright, this is a yes, with initiative. The king encourages moving forward confidently, taking decisive action, and stepping into leadership or responsibility. An example would be if asking whether you should start a new project, or pitch an idea, or take the lead on something, the answer is yes, provided you plan strategically and act with clarity. When reversed, caution is needed. The answer may lean towards no or a delayed yes, depending on whether impulsiveness, overconfidence, or mismanaged energy is at play. For example, if the reversed king appears, it suggests pausing, reassessing, and approaching the situation more mindfully rather than rushing in. In essence, the King of Wands as a yes-no indicator says, yes, you can, but do so with awareness, intention, and accountability. Advice and guidance meaning. When the King of Wands appears in a reading for advice or guidance, it's urging you to step into your personal power, to lead with vision and act decisively. This is a call to take initiative, embrace your strengths, and inspire others through your confidence and your clarity. The key guidance is to lead boldly but thoughtfully. Take charge where action is needed, but ensure your decisions are strategic and considerate so you don't create unnecessary conflict. Be visionary. Look at the bigger picture. Focus on long-term goals and direction rather than just short-term gains. Inspire. Don't dominate. Your influence is strongest when others feel motivated and included, not controlled or overpowered. Practical examples for the upright King of Wands would be in the workplace, step confidently into leadership opportunities, organize resources efficiently, and inspire your team with vision and clarity. In your personal life or in self-leadership, take initiative in resolving personal challenges or pursuing important goals, balancing assertiveness with empathy. In creative projects, this is a call to drive your ideas forward boldly, trusting your instincts while welcoming input from collaborators. Within your family, this is a call to organize family events, coordinate responsibilities, or guide loved ones with confidence and clear direction. Within your friendship or social circles, this is saying inspire your friends, encourage collaboration on shared projects, and take the lead in social planning. For love interests and within your romantic life, this is a call to make decisive, thoughtful gestures, express your desire and your love and your intentions clearly, and bring passion and vision into this relationship. A caution from the reversed King of Wands would be to avoid acting impulsively, being overbearing, or taking risks without reflection. Leadership without awareness can strain family ties, friendships, or romantic partnerships, and may create unnecessary obstacles in professional or creative endeavors. Shadow subconscious aspect. The shadow side of the King of Wands reveals the hidden or unconscious tendencies that can undermine his otherwise inspiring and confident energy. This is where fear, unchecked ego, or impulsiveness can manifest if self-awareness is lacking. Key shadow themes: fear of failure. Beneath the confident exterior, there may be an anxiety about not living up to expectations of yourself or of others. This fear can drive overcompensation, overworking, or an insistence on controlling the outcomes. Arrogance or overconfidence. The king's natural confidence can tip into hubris, leading to dismissing others' ideas, dominating situations, or assuming success is guaranteed without careful planning. Impulsive tendencies. Without reflection, this fiery energy of this king can result in rash decisions, hot-headed reactions, or taking unnecessary risks, a my way or the highway mindset, especially in relationships, work, or personal projects. Practical examples would be at work, micromanaging a team because of fear that things won't be done perfectly, even when delegation would certainly be wiser. Or in your personal life, acting impulsively in relationships or in friendships or projects driven by ego or impatience rather than strategy. Or internal patterns, subconsciously overextending yourself, feeling the need to always appear competent or heroic or right, which can lead to burnout or resentment. Reflection and integration. The shadow is not something to fear. It's an opportunity to learn. Recognizing these tendencies allows the King of Wands energy to be tempered with self-awareness, humility, and patience, transforming impulsive or arrogant behaviors into inspired, balanced leadership. Inner child or wound theme. The inner child aspect of the King of Wands reflects the early experiences, fears, or lessons that shape how we express confidence, leadership, and ambition. At this level, the King's energy can reveal where we may have struggled with self-assurance or overcompensation. The key themes would be balancing confidence with humility. As children, we may have been praised for achievements or independence, or conversely, criticized for stepping forward. This can create an inner tension, the desire to lead and to shine, but with the underlying fear of overstepping or failing. The need for validation. The inner child may seek approval or reassurance, driving adult behavior that overcompensates through dominance, perfectionism, or overachievement. Learning to own power safely. The King's wound invites us to embrace our leadership and our initiative without fear, cultivating a sense of worthy authority that doesn't need to prove itself constantly. Practical examples of this might look like, within your personal life, feeling hesitant to take initiative in relationships or in friendships out of fear of rejection, and then swinging to overconfidence as a defense mechanism. In your career or in terms of ambition, hesitating to step into leadership roles or ventures because of past self-doubt, or conversely, taking charge in a domineering way to mask insecurity or self-reflection. In essence, the King's Inner Child theme is about learning to embody your confidence responsibly, to integrate humility, and to trust in your own abilities without fear. By healing this wound, you move from reactive or defensive behavior to inspired, grounded leadership in all areas of life. Storytelling arc. The King of Wands marks a pivotal moment in the narrative of your life, or the story that the cards are revealing. All tarot readers are storytellers at heart. This is the card that signals it's time to step up. It's time to take control of your narrative. It's time to lead with vision and integrity. Key themes of the storytelling arc of the King of Wands. Taking charge of your story. Rather than letting circumstances or other people dictate your plot, the King of Wands reminds you that you are the author of your own journey. You have the power to shape outcomes through decisive action and inspired leadership. Inspiring others. This card often appears when your choices or actions are going to motivate, guide, or influence those around you. Whether you know it or not, your energy is going to set the tone for the narrative of a group, or a project, or a family dynamic, or something else. Confidence meets responsibility. Leadership is not just about doing, it's about doing wisely and ethically, ensuring that your story honors both your vision and its impact on others. Practical examples of this would be like within life choices, taking initiative in your career, your creative projects, or your personal growth that changes the trajectory of your life. Group dynamics, stepping into a leadership or mentorship role that influences a team, a community, or your family in a meaningful way. Or, in a personal narrative sense, overcoming fear or hesitation to express your authentic self, making choices that align with your values and your goals. In essence, the King of Wands in a storytelling context encourages you to be the active hero of your life, to move with intention, confidence, and purpose, and to recognize that your choices have ripple effects that can inspire and empower others. Synchronicity and intuitive symbolism. When the King of Wands appears, it often signals moments of alignment, insight, or signs from the universe that nudge you toward confident action or leadership. This card encourages you to tune into intuition, patterns, and the subtle ways guidance presents itself. Key themes of the synchronicities that you might want to look out for are fiery signs. Look for literal or metaphorical flames, red or orange objects, sunlight, sparks, or even fire-themed imagery within your environment as symbolic nudges towards action and initiative. People leading by example. You may encounter someone who embodies confidence, vision, or creativity, offering you a living example of how to step into your own King of Wands energy. Or sudden clarity, unexpected or aha moments, or insights that illuminate the next step in a project, relationship, or life direction. These often arrive when you are actively engaged and ready to lead. Tangible examples would be in your daily life. You might notice a mentor confidently navigating a challenge, inspiring you to approach your work or personal projects with a similar kind of energy. Or within creative or career projects, a sudden solution or innovative idea presenting itself, cutting through confusion or indecision. This is the King's energy, pushing you toward bold action. And in relationships, this could be someone stepping into a leadership or guiding role, showing you how to communicate, organize, or inspire, reflecting your own latent leadership potential. Here's a practical tip. Pay attention to patterns, synchronicities, and reoccurring symbols. They are the universe's way of nudging you to align with your inner King of Wands energy and act with courage, clarity, and vision. Sound and music correspondence. This one's just for fun, honestly, but I do love exploring how music can capture the energy of each tarot card. Personally, I've created a playlist with a song for every card, and I'd love to share that with you all in a video. Let me know if you want to see that. Music is highly subjective, so please do not ever feel limited by anybody else's choices. The idea is to tap into the energy of the card through sound and see what resonates for you personally. For the King of Wands, here are some of my suggestions that I feel capture his charismatic, confident, and visionary energy. We've got Ambition by Whale featuring Meek Mill and Rick Ross, bold, driven, unapologetically confident. Or King of Kings by Motorhead, powerful, commanding, and fierce. Or Hall of Fame by The Script, inspirational, motivating, and visionary. Think about a song that makes you feel confident and fiery and ready to take charge. That's the King of Wands energy, whether it's rock or metal or hip-hop, pop, classical. Just let your intuition guide your choice. Share your songs in the comments. Let's create the ultimate King of Wands playlist together. I'd love to see what tunes inspire you and bring this fiery energy into your life. Gem or crystal correspondence. Crystals can be a powerful way to connect with the energy of all tarot cards. These correspondences are widely used in the tarot community, though as always, your intuition is of course the best guide. Choose what resonates with you. For the King of Wands, these gems capture his confidence, his vitality, and his leadership energy. We're beginning with citrine, known as the Success Stone. Citrine amplifies abundance, optimism, and personal power. Ruby, this is a stone of passion and courage. And carnelian, this fiery orange stone, stimulates creativity, motivation, and confidence. So how do we use these crystals? We can meditate with them. We can hold the crystal or place it on your body to channel the king's energy of courage and initiative. Tarot readings. Place these stones near or on your cards to amplify clarity, leadership, insight, and vision. And in everyday life, wearing them as jewellery or keeping them nearby can help you stay connected to confidence and decisive action throughout the day. Remember, these are just suggestions. The most important connection is the one that you feel personally. Let your intuition guide you to the crystal that best embodies the King of Wands energy for you. Herb and plant correspondence. Herbs and plants are another practical way to work with tarot energy, and for the King of Wands, they reflect his fiery, activating, and inspiring qualities. Using herbs can enhance meditation, spell work, or simply your awareness of the card's energy in daily life. For the King of Wands, ginger, warming, stimulating. Ginger represents courage, motivation, and taking action. Cinnamon, associated with success, vitality, and passion. Cinnamon mirrors the king's fiery drive and ability to inspire others. Other fire herbs, think saffron or cayenne. These activate focus and determination, helping to channel the king's leadership qualities. How to use these. Meditation or rituals. You can burn, carry, or place these herbs near you to invoke courage, focus, and visionary energy. In tarot readings, you can place herbs near your spread to enhance clarity, motivation, and fiery insight. And in everyday life, you can have tea or sachets or incense to keep the King of Wands' confident and activating energy close to you throughout the day. As always, the best way to work with herbs is intuitive. Notice which scents, textures or energies resonate with you personally. These plants are your allies in embodying the King of Wands' fiery, confident, and visionary spirit. Polarity and interaction with other cards. In tarot, polarity refers to how energies of the cards interact, complement, or contrast with one another. This is particularly important with court cards because their personalities and elemental energies can enhance, challenge, or balance each other in a reading. Understanding these dynamics adds depth to interpretations, whether it's about people, situations, or aspects of the querent themselves. For the King of Wands, polarity often highlights the tension between mastery and impulsivity, leadership and inexperience, or active and receptive energy. Here's how he interacts with some of the other cards. The reversed King of Wands versus the upright Queen of Wands. The reversed king shows recklessness, domineering energy, or lack of focus, while the upright queen represents balanced, inspired leadership. Together, they illustrate the need to temper fiery, uncontrolled energy with strategic vision and empathy. The Knight of Wands with the King of Wands. The Knight is energetic, impulsive, and adventurous, whereas the King represents a calm, controlled mastery. When these cards appear together, it highlights a contrast between passion and wisdom, showing when enthusiasm needs guidance or structure. The King of Wands with the Page of Wands. The Page is the curious beginner, full of ideas but lacking perspective. The king, therefore, acts as the page's mentor or guide, channeling youthful energy into purposeful action. This pairing often appears when growth, teaching, or inspiration is central to the reading. The King of Wands with the King or the Queen of Cups. Fire meets water. Leadership and initiation intersect with emotional intelligence, empathy, and intuition. This combination can show someone who balances ambition with sensitivity, or it can highlight tension between action and emotion. The King of Wands and the Major Arcana cards. With the Emperor, the King emphasizes structured leadership and practical authority. With the Fool, the King guides bold action with strategy, helping to avoid reckless mistakes. With the Sun, he embodies optimism, vitality, and inspired leadership, showing moments of energetic success. With the Tower, the King's energy may signal a need for decisive action or courageous leadership amid chaos. The King of Wands and the Sword court cards. Fire, wands meets air, swords. This pairing highlights vision combined with strategy, passion with intellect, or potential clashes between impulsive action and analytic thinking. In essence, the King of Wands never acts alone. His energy is best understood in relation to others, and learning these polarities is a key step toward mastering court card readings. Recognizing these interactions allows you to see not just individual qualities, but how they play out dynamically in real life or within the querent's journey. Historical and cultural context. The evolution of the King of Wands. The King of Wands stands as a testament to the evolution of tarot imagery and symbolism, reflecting the changing perceptions of leadership and authority throughout history. In the earliest tarot decks, such as the Visconti-Sforza deck from the 15th century, the King of Wands was depicted as a mature man, holding a scepter, symbolizing authority and mastery over the suit of wands, associated with fire, creativity, and action. These early representations emphasized the king's role as a ruler who challenges and channels the dynamic energy of fire into constructive leadership. The Rider-Waite-Smith deck, created in 1909 by Arthur Edward Waite and illustrated by Pamela Coleman Smith, introduced more detailed symbolism. In this deck, the King of Wands is depicted seated on a throne, adorned with lions and salamanders, symbols of fire and strength. He holds a blossoming wand representing growth and vitality and creative energy. The salamanders biting their tails symbolize infinity and the continuous cycle of transformation, highlighting the king's ability to endure and transform through challenges. Reading the King of Wands in a non-Rider-Waite-Smith deck. While much of what we've discussed is based on the OG, the classic, the Rider-Waite-Smith, the RWS deck, the King of Wands appears in every tarot deck, and the core energy, visionary leadership, passion, and action remains consistent. However, the visual symbols, color choices, and artistic interpretations will vary wildly, so reading him effectively in other decks requires a flexible approach. You can focus on the archetypal energy, not the specific imagery. Even if the wand design or the king's posture is different, look for cues of leadership, confidence, and initiative. His body language, his expression, and context will usually signal authority, vision, or dynamic energy. The suits and elements do still apply. Wands equal fire, so any King of Wands in a non-Rider-Waite-Smith deck will still carry fiery energy, creative drive, action. Look for visual cues that emphasize movement or light or warmth. Rank and modality. If the deck differentiates court ranks visually, the king often embodies air, mental mastery, and cardinal initiative, even if the artist conveys this differently through posture or gaze or symbolic items. Speaking of symbolic objects, many decks reinterpret the wand as a staff or a scepter or some other tool. You can interpret it in context. It still represents direction and willpower and the ability to manifest ideas. The colour and tone. While the Golden Dawn colour system might not be present, notice warm tones, bold contrasts, or fiery highlights because they reinforce the king's dynamic energy. And as always, trust your intuition. Non-Rider-Waite-Smith decks often emphasize mood or thematic storytelling, so let the energy of the card and the surroundings and your intuitive response guide your interpretation rather than looking for the exact Rider-Waite-Smith correspondences. Across decks, the King of Wands is the archetype of bold leadership, creative action, and inspired confidence. The specific visual style changes, but his energetic blueprint remains. Read for initiative, vision, and the ability to mobilize and empower others. So, whether you pull the King of Wands for guidance, inspiration, or a gentle push, remember, this is the card of fire, action, leadership. Step into your vision, lead with heart, and wield your authority with courage. I'd like to take a moment to thank all of my wonderful viewers, subscribers, and supporters. As I'm sure you can imagine, a lot of work is going into these videos, researching, scripting, narrating, creating the title cards, and just creating this content that dives deeply into tarot, which is something I love and something I'm truly grateful to be able to share. And I truly appreciate everyone who watches and engages and leaves a like or a comment or subscribes, and anyone who wants to deepen their understanding of tarot. If you're new here and you got this far, welcome. If you enjoy content like this, don't forget to subscribe. It really, really helps because you can expect this level of in-depth exploration for every tarot card. We're going to be here a while, plus more insights into astrology, magic, spiritual growth, whatever takes my fancy depending on what the planets are doing. I'm also open to your video suggestions, whether it's creative spreads or different tarot decks or deep dives into the other court cards or astrological connections, spell work, integration, or even a thematic series like shadow work or career readings, I'd love to hear what you are curious about. Your ideas help shape the content that I make, and for me, make it more meaningful. Your journey to mastering tarot starts here, and I'm so glad that we're taking it together.